Alright, I'm just gonna do a sound check. Alright, so I think what we're gonna hopefully do is try to finish this tutorial module in one shot. So we're just gonna continue on. So step 37, notice that the red and can colors are are very bright right next to each other. This contrast can be distracting if it's overused on a website, and can make the text hard to read if it's placed on a complementary colored background. It's better practice to choose one color as a dominant color and use its complementary colors as an accent to bring attention to certain content on the page. Okay, so it says first in the H1 rule, so that's right here. Use the RGB function to set its background color to Kid. So this will be the RGB function. I think they're trying to have me type in the right values that would make it can. So that should be right here. Okay, so actually they tell you what it is. So for can, it's 0, 255, 255. So this is can reader. I think that's all it wanted us to do. Set the background color to can. So alright. That's what they wanted us to do. Next in the one rule, use the RGB function to set the background color to black. And In the to rule, use the RGB function to set the background color to red. Okay, so in the run rule, use the RGB function to set the background to black. I think I would just make it zeroed out, and that shouldn't make it black, because black is the absence of color. And 2, make that red. So it would be red. So we're making red with the RGB model, so it's all of red, none of green, and none of blue, because it's red. So RGB, so it's red. So this should be it. Congratulations, your code passes. Submit your code to continue. Step 39. Notice how your eyes are naturally drawn to the red color in the center. Okay, so they're saying our eyes should be drawn to this. When designing a site, you can use this effect to draw attention to important headings, buttons, and links. There are several other important color combinations outside the complementary colors, but you'll learn those a bit later. Okay, so I guess they're saying like if you, it's like highlighting it, but it's kind of getting into color theory stuff. For now, use the RGB function and the to rule to set your background color to black. So to make it black, it's 0, 0, 0. And that should be what it wanted us to do. Yep. Step 40. And in the H1 rule, remove the background color property and value to go back to the default white color. Okay. So we're just going to remove this. Now it's all black. Step 41. Now it's time to add other details to the markers, starting with the first one. In the first marker development, change the class 1 to red. In the first marker element, change the class 1 to red. Is that what it wanted us to do? I'm not sure. Okay, it says the code does pass though. Update the one class. Selector target the new red class. Alright, the code passes. Step 43, and update the RGB function in the red so that the rule is that red is to the max. So how do we do that? So we're gonna make the red value to the max. So it's RGB. That stands for red, green, blue. So we make it all of red, none of green, none of blue. When you agree that red is all of red, none of green, and none of blue, so that should pass. Next, change the class 2 to green in the second marker div, and the class 3 to blue in the third marker div. So 2 is going to be green, and blue is going to be right here. Congratulations, your code passes. Submit your code to continue. Alright. Now, update the class selector 2 so that it targets a green class, and 3 so it targets a blue class. So, so what it's saying here is now that we change this to 2 and this to now change it said 2, now it's green, and change this to blue instead of 3. We're now going to change the name to green and this one to blue. And it's kind of convenient for us to give RGB functions for these, because the RGB function is red, green, blue, and it's red, green, blue. So all we have to do to make green, in this case, green is none of red, all of green, and none of blue. To make blue, that's going to be none of red, none of green, and all of blue. So then once we have that, we have everything that we need. That should pass. Oh, it didn't pass. What did I do? So, okay, hold on. So, update 3, so that's the blue class. 2, so it's the green class. Oh, okay, so they didn't change this color yet, though. I don't know. I think I jumped the gun, actually. Hold on. So, okay, so then... Okay, so they didn't say to change the colors yet, but that's how we need to change the colors when we do change the colors. Okay. A very common way to apply color to an element with CSS is with hexadecimal or hex values. While the hex values sound complicated, they're really just another form of RGB values. Hex color starts with a pound character and takes 6 characters from 0 to 9 and A to F. The first pair of characters represents red, the second pair represents green, and the third pair represents blue. So this should be red, R, G, B. So just with our understanding of the RGB function, this is red, this is green, and this is blue. In the green CSS rule, set the background color property to a hex color code with the values 0, 0 for red. Alright, so in the green color code, set the background color property to a hex color code with 0, 0 for red. Okay, so I think I would just get rid of this entire thing, I think, and then I just put in the pound sign. So we're gonna try to make we'll try to make green. That's what we're gonna try to do. So 0, 0 for red, because it's gonna be none of red, but it's gonna be the max of green and none of blue. So that's why that gets green, because it's none of red, all of green, and none of blue. And FF is the max value hexadecimal. Maybe you're already familiar with decimal or base 10 values that go from 0 to 9. Hexadecimal or base 16 values. I was actually trying to figure something out in a calculator to make sense of this. So you may already be familiar with decimal or base 10 values, which go from 0 to 9. Hexadecimal or base 16 goes from 0 to 9, and then after it goes A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's all you need to know. So to understand like a base 10 system, or let's say it was a base 3 system, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3. It would be 0, 1, and 2. And there's only 3 options. I think for this, I'm going to actually just try to quickly explain bases and how that applies. I want to make the background black on Microsoft Paint. One moment. So I just kind of want to explain more about a base, about just so the thing about bases in general. So if we're talking about a base 10 system, like what is a base 10 system? It's where so let's say it's base 10. This is what we're used to. It's base 10. What are the options for base 10? It would be 0. It would be 1. It would be 2. It would be 3. Then it would be 4. Then it would be 5. Then it would be 6. Then it would be 7. Then it would be 8. and then it would be 9. Now, the reason why it doesn't include 10 is because you are starting with, like, if you were to count to 10 and start with 1, then you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but you're starting with 0. So when you start with 0 and count to 10, you get to 9. And basically, all they're saying there is that there's 10 options. So whenever you think of base 10, think of that in terms of options. So you have, I'm going to try to write on my mouse pad, but you have 10 options. You have 10, actually, hold on. You have 10 options. Harder than I thought. So that's 10 options. So with base 16, it's different. You have, so you start with 0, and then you have 1, then you have 2, then you have 3, then you have 4, then you have 5, then you have 6, then you have 7, then you have 8, then you have 9, and then instead of stopping, it keeps going. So now you're at your 11th option, your 12th option, your 13th option, your 14th option, your 15th option, and then your 16th option. So now, if this is how many choices you have for any given number, you have more options. So now, in this case, you have 16 options rather than 10. So if you were to take the number, let's say it's, let's say it's 46. This number is a member of the base 10 system, and this is another number that's a member of the base 10 system. So this can be anywhere between 0 and 9, and this can be anywhere between 0 and 9. But this one goes from 0 to 9, but then it goes to A, B, C, D, and F, and then you get those 16 values. But yeah, that's kind of what I mean by that. Now back to the tutorial. With hex colors, 00 is 0% of that color, and FF is 100% of that color. So 00, FF, 00, what does that mean? That means 0%. That means So that means 0% of red, 100% of green, and 0% of blue, RGB, which would translate to red. No, that would translate to green. Because it's 0% of red, 100% of green, and 0% of blue. Lower the intensity of green by setting the green value of the hex color to 7F. Okay? So instead of FF, FF is the most brightest it could be, then make it just 7F. So this is what I wanted us to do. Now the H, so this is another color model. The HSL color model, or hue, saturation, and lightness is another way to represent colors. The CSS HSL model, HSL function, accepts 3 values, a number from 0 to 360 for hue, a percentage from 0 to 100 for saturation, and a percentage from 0 to 100 for lightness. Okay. If you imagine a color wheel, the hue red is at 0 degrees, green is at 120 degrees, and blue is at 240 degrees. Okay. Saturation is the intensity of that color from 0% or gray to 100% for pure color. Lightness is how bright a color appears from 0% to complete black, to 100% complete white, and 50% being neutral. In the blue CSS rule, use the HSL function to change the background color property to blue. So this is the HSL function. So I think it should be 240 here, 100% here, and 50% here. And that apparently will make blue. So this is kind of more complicated than the other two things. But it does pass. Learned a few ways to set flat colors in CSS. Um, I'm gonna actually end the stream and then um start another one shortly.